This is the Under the Ring Report. Now, here are the masters of armchair booking, John the Flesh Wound and Cousin Tom.
And we are back here at the Under the Ring Report. Tom, how the hell are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
Not bad. And considering we've been back and forth for like the last 2 weeks, all the stuff that keeps getting released for All In, my bank account's not happy about it. But I tell you what, when we're there, I'm going to have a hell of a time.
Oh, I'm telling you, every day something new comes up and it's like, oh, did I already buy a ticket for that? Or is that the same time as something else I want to do?
That's exactly it. I had to, the one I wish I would have picked up was Marty Scurll, but the only problem was I was going to be in a meet and greet at the same time, and I wanted to see Jerry Lawler and Terry Funk, so I had to pass.
Yeah, well, and then the other thing I have is I have like this cloud of guilt that I've been dealing with because it's the weekend, it's my wife's birthday, and I'm ditching her to go to All In, which she's okay with, but I'm still like, oh man, now I've dropped how much money?
Don't worry about it. You can make it up to her later. She'll be happy. It won't matter.
Oh, well, I've already given her one birthday gift early, so I'm working on it. But yeah, I'm the same as you. I'm like, oh man, I just saw, well, it's like today, Pentagon Dark Jr., whichever name you want to go by, his meet and greet was announced today.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, that would be awesome. But we've already got the NWO reunion.
Yeah.
Book, the Young Bucks, and if I can make it, Cody and Brandy Rhodes. But I know you're going to be there, and I don't know if I'm going to get there in time. But so, we already got a pretty full plate of things scheduled.
Yeah, and whatever else pops up in, between now and then, too. That's the other thing, as you wait for other things. But we were talking before we started, both our wives are tired of hearing us talk about All In and StarCast, It's as soon as we find out something, we try, hey, what is this about? Is it about the wrestling crap again? Okay, you just need to shut up.
Yeah, you were told to shut up, and I was told to move out.
Oh, but I'm with you, man. I haven't been this excited for a wrestling show in quite some time. And that's part of it.
On top of it, I think I told you this week, I bought tickets for another house show I'm taking my son to. He wanted to go here near Carbondale, which is next week. So I'm going to have some more house show photos and all that good jazz.
And next week,
summer full of wrestling.
Next week, I'm heading to the local baseball diamond where Road Warrior Animal's going to be doing autographs and taking pictures. So we both got so much wrestling piled in, it's not even funny lately. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm not complaining at all. But that's not what we're going to talk about this week. We just got done watching the big New Japan show from the Cow Palace. Mm-hmm. And I kind of wanted to talk, because this has been going on for a while. But for those who don't know, when you watch New Japan Wrestling on the New Japan World streaming app, you usually get Kevin Kelly and Don Callis doing the English commentary. And you know what? They fit for what's going on. They know the product, and it just makes it a really enjoyable time listening to them. Now, when Axis, which has the rights to New Japan here in the United States, does their Friday shows, and when they do big shows like they did this Saturday with the Cow Palace show, Jim Ross and what the hell is his name? Barnett?
Josh Barnett.
They do the commentary. Now, I don't know what your feeling is on this, but I'm sorry. I mean, I like JR. JR has a lot of good memories for me during the Attitude Era, but he doesn't need to be doing New Japan commentary. That's just my feeling.
Yeah, I tell you what, number one, when Access normally does New Japan, it's always recorded prior, and those two go in and do their tape sessions because they're going to air it. They either chop it up, a 3-hour show into smaller segments and air it later. But this time it was live on the air, and there's a definite difference, in being live and being recorded and get to tape your stuff up. And even the pre-recorded stuff, I don't want to say it's not believability with JR. I growing up listening to him, he's always been believable, and I don't want to say that, but I think it's just doesn't have his finger on the product like he did when he was with the other companies, because he's not in it 24/7 like he used to be, which, to his credit, he doesn't need to be. This is just something that they brought him in to draw viewers in, because name recognition would get more viewers in. But you can just tell there is that disconnect where it's not what it should be, or what it could be, I guess I should say.
I'm with you on that, because And it's not just been this one. I mean, they've done multiple big shows, and because they did last year, the G1 last year, and it's the same problem. And it just infuriates me because sometimes it seems like they're just shitting on the product. Sometimes, the offhand remarks, like we all know about the stuffed cat that comes to the ring, and you notice when he was on there, he's like, all right, that's Daryl the cat, and I'm reading this card, and that's all I'm saying about this shit. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? It's like he's pissed off to have to call something that's not WWE, and he doesn't take the time. He doesn't know about the nuances of the wrestlers. If it's an American wrestler, he's all over it, but a lot of the other wrestlers, little lesser known, he doesn't care about. He doesn't know their moves. He doesn't know their finishing moves, and always complaining about the type of style they wrestle. And I mean, it was really bad this time. And I get it. He got hurt. That whole thing that went down. That's kind of shit on that. But still, the problem of it is he was shitting on the product before that. And I mean, it pains me to watch New Japan when he's doing commentary. And I mean, I hate to say it, but he's so out of touch, and he doesn't seem like he gives a shit to find out what's going on. Because in the old days, you study tape, you find out about these people, you do everything you can to give people an experience. And part of my problem to me is feels like he's too busy trying to be JR, and well, that guy looks just like Dr. Steve Williams. He had that same move, or that's Big Papa Pump. I don't give a fuck about Big Papa Pump and those guys. This is New Japan Wrestling. These guys are trying to tell a goddamn story. Quit telling people who they used to be wrestling and tell the goddamn story. I hate to break it to you. There aren't WWE fans beating down the door to watch New Japan. These are people that have sought out something different and have already been watching the product. Now they're watching it on Access. They don't need to be force-fed what the hell's going on. Most of us people know who the Bullet Club is, and we know who most of the wrestlers are, because as New Japan has become available with streaming, you can follow. And I mean, how many events have we watched lately since New Japan is streaming?
Oh, Lord. At least all the major ones.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 or 4 in the last of the major ones?
Yeah.
Because they only do stuff every 2-3 months.
And that's what pisses me off, because he used to be the man, and it just seems like just an average show when he's doing it now. Like he just hasn't taken the time to really find out what's going on. It's just, well, I guess I'm getting paid by Access, so I'll just go through the freaking motions, and it pisses me off because he's selling the product short.
You're fired up on a whole new level with this topic.
Well, it pisses me off. It pisses me off because New Japan is trying to make their way into the United States more and more, okay? And there was some phenomenal matches on Saturday. I mean, that main event with Cody and Omega, holy shit. But he was too busy complaining about some dumbass in the third aisle that got his leg hurt instead of telling the story that was going on between Cody and Omega. I don't care. Tell the story.
I heard a lot of complaining about, I know the rails weren't tied together, so, they blew apart. Instead of commentating on the match with Juice and Sling Blade, it was, commentary about, well, why are they spending so much time out of the match? Well, I guess there's no purpose in the ref being here. And it was just, everything was down, just put down and put down. And there wasn't anything really that built that match. I mean, those guys did a lot outside the ring.
But who cares?
But if you go back and saw their other matches leading up to that, it's nothing new. I mean, that was nothing out of the ordinary for those guys. I mean, they'd, been going at it for a while. That was their third match that they had against each other. Same way with, like the guy with the knee, the railing him in the knee, and then he started going on about that. There was just so much stuff, and there's so many positive things that could have been mentioned. And even Barnett, when JR got knocked over, he's dropping the F-bomb on live television. Apparently, they had asked for no one to go near the table, and those guys did a spot directly into the table. So
they did it twice, actually. I can see why they were pissed about it. I mean, they did it twice. But
I see that. But at the same time, like the end of the match, when the firing squad came out and the guy kept ringing the bell, there was even a little joke made about someone tell the guy to quit ringing the bell. Just different things. It's just tell what's going on.
This is the shitty part about it. If JR gave a shit, think about in the Attitude Era when things happened that weren't in the match and how he didn't worry about what should happen. He told the story that was going on. Here it is. The firing squad has broken off. He should have really got into that because there's a lot of people, if they are for the first time tuning in to New Japan, they don't know a whole lot about OG Bullet Club. They don't know a lot,
Remember,
or what's King Haku doing there? Why is he there? You know what I mean? You don't know a lot about that. And that's the problem, is that
if you remember, whenever there were run-ins or things like that in the old, I'll call it the old days, even though it's not that long ago.
It's been a while, dude.
He was on commentary. He'd start yelling, "Stop the match."
Yeah.
Somebody get some help, get the security. He was always yelling for help or trying to stop it or something. But there was an emotional response from the announcer, like, this is shocking, it shouldn't be happening.
Yep.
All he said on the big ending was, well, okay, someone tell the guy to quit ringing the bell. And it was, everything was just down. There wasn't what you expect.
And my biggest problem too, and this goes back even to the first match, he likes to take most of the time and he will really dig in when it's somebody he knows. Because in the beginning, they had the 3-man tag match, and most of the match he was busy talking about King Haku. That's all he was talking about, was King Haku. And I'm like, people know who King Haku is. Why don't you talk about the actual people that people give a shit about? And most of the time, that's what he kept talking about. And it's like he hasn't taken the time to know more about some of these other guys. So his crutch is to talk about people he knows. That's it. And either he knows them or he compares them to someone from the past. Because if you listen to every match, he was busy comparing these people to old freaking wrestlers of old age, and that's not cool. Tell a story. That's all I want, man. Just tell a damn story, because there are so many stories going on in New Japan that a lot of people probably had no clue what they were. There wasn't a whole lot of Jim Ross trying to get people to know the whole reasons behind why the Bullet Club is split. Why is the firing squad really out there beating the hell out of the Bullet Club? What is the point of this? And other stories that were going on too, there wasn't much of that at all. It's like either he didn't know or he just didn't care.
It was a good show. I enjoyed the show. And like I said before, I preferred Don Callis and Kevin Kelly.
Yep.
I mean, Wrestle Kingdom, I listened to him through the app, and it was great. It was as it should have been. And, I can jump to different promotions and listen to different announcers, and I don't go, oh, I wish it was somebody else. I've never been that way. I could flip back and forth and never really say anything. But for some reason, I don't know if it's we knew JR from 20 years ago, and it's just like watching a professional athlete. They're not the same 20 years later as they were when they started.
Well, there's a reason that Vince took him off commentary,
Exactly.
What I mean? He's phenomenal, but you know what? There's a reason that he was taken off commentary. And even if you jump back 2 years ago when he did the Undertaker match versus Roman Reigns,
wasn't that good?
And I get it. I know his wife had just died, but still, it doesn't help him. Let him help on the network. Let him do things like that. But man, it just pisses me off because I expect so much from him, and I feel so let down after watching his commentary on New Japan.
Yeah, it was rough. It was a rough night, and but it's not the first time that I've watched New Japan with him on commentary and thought that way. So it's like I said, it's a name draw to get new eyes or older eyes who haven't seen New Japan product.
But the problem of it is when you try to make yourself to the forefront of the product instead of putting the guys over, that's when you have a problem. And that, I think, is where my biggest beef is right now, is they're so busy trying to put themselves over, they forget why they're there.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that point of view completely. I mean, it's the whole shtick about comparing to older generations, older wrestlers. You're going to talk about what you know. So at some point, you need to know more about the current product.
Yeah.
So you don't fall back, because it becomes a crutch, is what it is. And it's just a way to get you through the program, and you're not really helping out what you're doing because you're just falling back on what you know. And, that's my main complaint.
And that is, I mean, the big problem too is these poor kids, young men, as they're trying to get over in the United States, if you're just comparing them to whoever, most of these people go, oh, is this just a clone of so-and-so? Why do I care about him? That's, they need to be shown how he needs to be able to make people know that this is a big deal. This is a very important person. He's nobody like anybody else you've seen. He's a big deal, and that's it. it. And I think he thinks that he's making a bridge between wrestling fans by comparing them. And I think all he's done, I mean, you go to Reddit, you go to Twitter, the flaming on Jim Ross is amazing. It's been like that for a while. I think most people are like, you know what, great Mark Cuban. It was great, good way to get eyes on it, but let's move on. They're there. Why is Kevin Kelly and Don Callis not doing it on Access? That needs to happen now.
It's exactly right. And you're right. It has been going on. And I know even on his podcast, he's addressed it where people are, taking, I don't want to say taking shots, but how people are online. Everyone's brave behind the keyboard.
Oh yeah,
but they all have a reason. I mean, they wouldn't voice their opinion if they didn't have one. So, and that's one of those things is you're getting a reaction, but it's not the reaction you want as an announcer.
No.
After the show, they should be talking about what they just saw, not what they just listened to.
Well, and that's the sad part too, is no one was talking about the Cody and Omega match. They were talking about Jim Ross falling and cursing and Barnett saying F you multiple times. That's what everybody was talking about. So you leave one of your biggest main events of the year and a chance to get over the United States. And when you get done, the only thing people are talking about is bad commentary and some of the shit that went on afterwards, instead of that phenomenal match and some of the spots that took place.
Oh yeah, some of those, that back suplex off a 15-foot ladder was crazy.
Yeah, there was a lot of those. I mean, that spot Cody took when he fell off the side, was pushed over the ropes onto the table and it didn't break. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, anytime I see a table not break, I just wince.
Yeah.
It brings immediate reaction like, oh God, that wasn't supposed to happen.
But that, like I said, that's my thought. I mean, I wish no ill will toward the guy, and I've enjoyed some of his work in the past. It's just I don't think he's the right fit for New Japan.
Yeah. Well, and it may be a case where he says, you know what, I need to lighten my workload and maybe not do that. Because I know he's busy he's going to do another book, and his first book was a bestseller. I had it. It was a good read.
Yeah.
So there's still lots positives going on. I'm with you. I don't think the New Japan thing is his venture right now.
All right.
But time will tell.
By God, it's a hot tag!
All right, man. Well, let's jump into our hot tag and kind of chat about also some of the other events that have taken place in the last week or two. And I'll start off and tell me your thoughts on the new Cody Rhodes.
The new Cody Rhodes. That would be, you know what? I like heel Cody Rhodes. I really, I know he dyed the hair back to brunette because he's going to do some acting.
Probably on Arrow.
Probably on Arrow, yeah, more than likely with Amel. But you know what? I liked how they continued the story. Him and Omega had another great match, and even though they were attacked by the firing squad at the end of that, seeing them stand together, I was almost figuring he wasn't going to go for it, but it kind of helps keeps that group together. So now they've got something to build on for more storyline. I really got nothing bad to say about Cody since he's left the WWE. That guy's just done miracles for his career and for wrestling in a short amount of time. So I'm happy with it.
All right, man.
I have one for you. I was just read it yesterday, and I know you saw it. Flip Gordon. Will Flip Gordon be all in?
You know what? I love how that story could end up. With Flip getting a chance to compete for the NWA title. If he wins, it's gonna be unreal because he gets a chance then to wrestle Cody at All In. And I don't know about you, but I think I would be more excited to see Flip as the NWA champion wrestling Cody than Nick Aldis. I mean, Nick Aldis is fine, but here's the problem. I think Tim Storm had a bigger buzz for the NWA title than Nick Aldis has. I mean, Nick Aldis is a great worker, but it's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. It's Nick Aldis, so what? And I hope this is how it breaks down, because as soon as this was announced, it was great because, Twitter and how the Young Bucks and the Elite and everybody used it. Cody responded like, oh my God, I can't believe it. That was on his Twitter. And it was so funny, because here's Flip trying to figure out every way he can, and this story has been great because I think it's really helped Flip's career, because that's because so many people want to be behind an underdog, and here's Cody being a dick and he's not going to let Flip on his big show, even though Flip's the one who got him back together and he's helped him out. And if he makes it, that is going to be just the cherry on top, because I think I'll care more about that match.
Yeah, I love the whole story, the whole storyline. that's been going on now for, well, the all-in tickets went on sale in May. So this has been going on all summer. And it's going to stretch all the way out till the Labor Day weekend. And I've loved every minute of it.
All right. What I'm going to ask you about is your thoughts on Extreme Rules.
Extreme Rules is coming up this weekend. I always liked Extreme Rules matches years ago, but as far as a pay-per-view goes, boy, I tell you what, I am having a hard time getting excited. Now, the last pay-per-views they had, I won't say surprisingly good. It was just surprising. It was a positive pay-per-view from top to bottom. So I'll put it that way. So I'll watch it. I'm going into it with no expectations whatsoever. At this point in time, with the storyline of WWE Creative, I would rather watch an NXT TakeOver show than what they're about to give me. I mean, steel cage match with Braun and Kevin Owens. I'll watch that just because they're both entertaining, and I enjoy watching both of them. But the rest of the card, I'm just not there. I mean, I just read today they had the lowest Raw ratings ever in the history of Raw for this past Monday night.
It's obvious, though. I tried to watch Monday night, and you know what? I turned it off, especially after watching New Japan on Saturday and then trying to watch Raw on Monday. It just pisses you off because they have talent. It's just right now their creative is very stagnant.
Well, and I think the 3-hour format, I think 3 hours is killing them.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Go back to 2. I think if they go back to 2, they cut out a bunch of the nonsense that doesn't need to be in there, tighten things up. And for the love of God, quit running promos for your pay-per-view during people's matches.
Yeah, that's bad. That's real bad.
I'll pay attention, but am I chomping at the bit to watch it? Not really. So that's my 2 cents there. Well, and then I guess finally for our hot tag segment, I was going to ask you, how many meet and greets are you planning to do at All In?
I have no clue yet, to tell you the truth. No idea. It depends who else pops up and if my wallet can take it.
Yeah, I know.
But you know what, though? I've been smart. I've been saving my money. You know, each month I usually buy a video game. I put that money and haven't bought video games. I haven't done any of that stuff. I put it aside because, you know what? There may be something that all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I want this too. But I think right now I'm pretty cool with what I've got. And I'm looking forward to it. All right, folks. That's been this week's show. And yes, I ranted quite a bit. And sorry about the language, but I get very passionate sometimes.
Hey, that's good. That's all right. That's shows you're human.
But do us a favor if you can. Go to undertheringreport.com and subscribe to the show. Go ahead and go to iTunes and give us a nice rating to help us out. And thanks again for listening to the Under the Ring Report.
You're listening to Under the Ring Report, where you can hear everybody's favorite wrestler, that's me, Rob Van Dam, the whole effing show.
Follow the Under the Ring Report on Twitter at UTRR Podcast. You can subscribe to the Under the Ring Report on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, or visit undertheringreport.com. Thanks for listening to the Under the Ring Report.